Leyla, ven.
Hello, my friends and fishes, and welcome back to another episode of Mermaid Mysteries. This is a series that Mermaid Zelda and I started as an ongoing collaboration between our two channels. I'm flying a little bit solo at the moment because Mermaid Zelda's got a lot of stuff going on with her move and everything. If you want all the deets on that, I will leave a link to her channel in the description box down below. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about this sort of ongoing mermaid mystery of Lilith and Leyla over on TikTok.
Get videos of her mermaid friend Leyla, and she would like talk to her, and then sometimes she would sing to her, and then Leyla would sing back, and she would go like scuba diving, and in the distance you could see a silhouette of a mermaid. Somebody did send me 2 of her videos, so here are those. Leyla? Leyla, ven. No sé si la logran oír.
So many things, but there's another video. What? Oh man. So many feelings right now. What? Okay, first of all, that last one actually looked like an edit of that other piece of found mermaid footage with the tail that looks really bizarrely like the Mahina Monofin. So I'm not saying that this is for sure the Mahina Monofin because yes, it does actually look much thicker from where the heels / ankles would be to the very tip of the Monofin, but you cannot deny that these two shapes are extremely similar. To be totally honest, you don't really see much of anything. At the very, very end, you see shadows, you see this like... Listen, there's a lot of shapes in the ocean that could be, as like a blurry shadow in the distance, be mistaken for a mermaid. It's possible. This is actually some footage of me in my very first silicone mermaid tail ever. This footage is kind of meant to look like found footage. This clip has been used in other found footage videos on YouTube before that I've seen, and actually my tail maker, Creature Fins, who actually created this incredible work of art, is actually featured a lot of the time. This is also another option when you're seeing mermaids, that this could in fact be somebody from the community. Mermaid Melissa is another very commonly used mermaid in these videos. I neglected to talk about this when I was sitting down to film, but it was something that I felt was very important to mention to you guys. Now, I will say that with around 80% of the world's oceans just unexplored, anything is possible, okay? So I am like, italicize everything I say, right? It's just, there's nothing clear. Why is there, first of all, I love that we're in the year 2022, where I'd say like the majority of the world's population, and yes, I know that in some instances it is a privilege to have an iPhone and this kind of technology, and I do consider myself very privileged to have access to these things. A lot of phones have the ability to take good photos and good video, and yet somehow we always end up with the super grainy, super blurry, all kinds of overexposed. Where I get goosebumps and what I find to be creepy is the singing. right? The singing and then that like echoing sound that comes back absolutely gives me goosebumps. Very weird, very like, this is not the vibe. Okay, so where did all of this end up taking me? Because I did end up going onto YouTube and looking up all of these other videos and trying to figure this out for myself. Like, what does all of this mean? What are we looking at? And according to so many of these TikTokers, this account has just disappeared. And there were other instances where people were saying like, oh, and she's got an Instagram account, but that account has been dormant for however long and we can't get a hold of this person, Lilith, whoever this is. They've just disappeared and they've left social media entirely and we don't know what happened. People have been theorizing in comment sections that she went to live with the mermaids. Now, I was able to find a couple of different YouTube videos that talked about the Lilith and Leyla kind of story, and also showing basically variations of the clips that I've seen on TikTok, along with some other odd underwater footage where you're like, your mind almost just puts something there just to see something, because it's like, oh, pointing arrows here, but you can't actually see anything and you don't actually really know what you're looking at. I have so many theories, by the way. There's so many different parts to it, and I find it really intriguing. They're circling things that I'm not able to make out what this is. They're like, oh, there's a shape here, there's a shape there. None of it is particularly clear, right? And you can see stuff when it's still framed. As soon as it starts to move again, it no longer it's like, oh, it was actually a fish. It was just a fish from a weird angle, you know? So just for you guys, if you want to check out any of the clips that I am referencing today, links to all of the videos that I've been talking about and everything will be in the description box down below. So if you want to see them on their original platforms, go and do that. Okay, so it's just basically more of the same. More of this like, oh, there's something here, there's something there, we can kind of see something. But you can't really. You can't really. And it's almost like the footage from this is so intriguing almost because you can't. Editing Courtney popping in super fast. As I was sitting here scrubbing, trying to edit my dialogue, I noticed something that I didn't see before. In the background of this image, so forget the bubbles and forget the stuff out front, there are 3 distinct white, like misty shapes. Now we're going to talk about this a little bit later. Could these be bubbles? Of course they could. It could be bubbles. But if my theory was correct, which I'll talk about later in the video, I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about it. Because you can almost see something, right? So this brings me to a theory that a lot of people have about mermaids, where mermaids actually exist on a separate plane, almost like ghosts in a sense, right? You know, whenever people are seeing evidence of spiritual activity, is very often, you know, you're not going to see like the full body of a ghost like you do in movies. It's not going to be a really scary thing. It's going to be a sound or a feeling or an orb or a little flicker of light or something. It's usually more like that. And I almost feel like that's the evidence that we're seeing here, because there are like little light anomalies, little orb anomalies and things like this. And I almost feel as though that's the thing that we're actually supposed to be looking for here. That mermaids don't actually exist on our plane. They exist alongside us on a different plane. Okay, one last little piece that I wanted to add in regards to mermaids as spirits or existing in a separate dimension or plane comes from the book Water Witchcraft, Magic and Lore from the Celtic Tradition by Anwen Avalon, and it's on page 209 under Mermaids and Finfolk, and the quote is, "Our observation with merfolk continues today. Some purchase expensive tails to wear in the water or adorn themselves with cutesy plastic flowers and rainbow-colored shell bras. While these may be amusing, however, they are not a way to transform yourself into a mermaid. Merfolk, lake ladies, and other finfolk belong to the spirit realm and often to the fairy world, and no amount of wanting to be a mermaid will turn you into one. They are real and individual spirits that dwell in the realms of the other world. They don't wear bathing suits or shell bras, and they most definitely do not wear plastic flowers. While dressing like a mermaid can be fun around Halloween, you can never become a mermaid or water fae any more than they can become human. We have different natures and we must honor both." So this was something I found really interesting. Obviously, Anwen Avalon has a real issue with what all of us do as mermaids, but that's okay. I just thought it was a really interesting quote from a book that I'd read years ago. And it definitely comes back to this whole mermaids as a spiritual thing, mermaids as spirits instead of mermaids as a physical being or species that we can actually go and find and document that way. Okay, well, all of that being presented and all of that being said, I do want to pass this off to you guys. Do you believe that what we are actually seeing and hearing in these video clips is actually a siren slash mermaid? I would love to know what your thoughts are on mermaids existing alongside us on a different plane. I also want to follow up this video with some research into mermaid shifting, which was something that was brought up a couple of times while I was looking through all of this. If you have any resources you want to share, you want to talk about it, definitely leave me a comment. I really wonder what happened to Lilith and Leyla and this other mermaid siren that you see in the footage, because there's two of them in the water, so who's filming? Like, I'm so curious to see what you guys think about all of this. Definitely comment down below and let me know. So I know I had taken down the other mermaid mystery content. I have since put it back up. I had a few people who reached out to me and let me know that they actually really enjoyed that kind of content. And so I've been doing some research to find some other topics that we could talk about in these videos. And then of course, once Zelda kind of settles in, she and I can go and do some exploring as well. But if there are any topics you would like me to discuss in future videos, please leave those down in the comment section down below as well. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join the pod and the bell notification as well so you never miss an upload. I love you, my fishes. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to catching you all again in my next video. Happy swimming! Bye! A big thank you to the Patreon Pod for helping sponsor today's episode. The Patreon Pod is your mermaid home away from home with a private Discord community chat, weekly live streams with replays where you can actually watch me make mermaid tales live, as well as get exclusive looks at upcoming projects I'm working on and more. If you are interested in helping us continue to build and shape this incredible community made up of mermaids from all over the world, please check out the link in the description box down below.